Hi everyone! Thanks for visiting my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Carol, the Thrifty Chic Housewife. If you enjoy the content you find here, please consider subscribing, like, and share my videos, and follow me on social media. I will leave all the links in the description box below. Excuse the background noise. My husband is working on our basement, but we'll try to work around it. Anyway, today, as you can tell from the title, we're going to be making Summer Berry Applesauce. Now, when I did my tour of my home canned pantry, one of the things I had in there was my Summer Berry Applesauce, and many of you have contacted me and requested a video on how to make it. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, you can use pretty much any berry you want. Berries are processed at the same time as applesauce is, so you can pretty much use any berry you want. When I did this batch, this was a combination of blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, and blackberry. So I kind of had a bunch of leftover berries and I just kind of tossed them in with some apples and came up with a Summer Berry Applesauce. So you can use any berry you want or a combination of berries. That's entirely up to you. But for today's purposes, I'm going to be using straight up strawberries because we just went strawberry picking and I have some strawberries left that I need to use up. So I'm going to be using strawberries. So the ingredients here are really minimal and the process is very simple. You just need about 5 pounds of apples, and I have a combination of Fuji and Honeycrisp. Those are my favorites and they make delicious applesauce. And then, like I said, I have about 5 pounds of those, and then we're going to be using about 4 cups of berries. So, like I said, use your own discretion, use the apples that you enjoy, use the berries that you enjoy, and we're just going to cook them together and it will make a delicious sauce. Now, for my applesauce, I like mine to be a little on the chunky side. So for cooking time, we're just going to cook it until they start to soften and break down. And I kind of leave mine a little bit chunky. If you want yours nice and smooth, you can run it through a food mill or you can use a hand blender and make it smoother. It's up to you. And you can also cook them for a longer period of time. So my goal is to have kind of a chunky sauce that tastes really good. Now, as far as sweetness goes, I try not to add any extra sugar if I don't have to. So what we'll do is we'll start the cooking process and then give it a taste. And if it feels like it's not sweet enough, we can add some sugar. I think I'm going to be fine. The apples are pretty sweet. The strawberries are not super sweet, but they're not sour by any means. So we'll see where we are once we start cooking. So all I did was just peeled and cored my apples, and then I just chunked them into big chunks, and I have them in my pot. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on to a nice medium-high heat. You can add a little bit of water here to prevent them from scorching, but I don't think I'm going to need to. They're pretty juicy. Plus, we are going to add our strawberries, and my strawberries are very juicy, so I don't think I need to add any liquid at all. So I'm going to go ahead and add 4 cups of strawberries that I hulled and cut off the tops and then cleaned them really well. So they're ready to go. We're just going to add those to our apples, and then we're just gonna let this start cooking and breaking down. You want to make sure that you stir it fairly frequently so nothing's getting burned or scorched on the bottom, but we're just gonna let it go until it's the texture that we want, and once we get there, we can start the canning process. So while that's happening, I'm gonna go ahead and get my jars and my canner ready. Okay guys, I brought you in a little bit closer so you can see what's going on in my pot. And I did want to mention that your apples, your fruit will cook down faster if you have a lid on it. So I've had a lid on mine for about the last 15 minutes. And you can see that everything is starting to cook down. The apples are starting to soften. We have plenty of juice in there from the berries. The berries are starting to break down and release this beautiful red color. So I'm going to put the lid back on and let it continue to cook. Okay guys, I brought you in a little bit closer so you could see what I'm looking at. Everything is starting to cook down and my apples are really soft. And it's been simmering like this for about 30 minutes, and then all I do is just take a fork and poke one of my apples and see if they're fork tender, and if they are, then we can go ahead and use our immersion blender and make our sauce to the consistency that we want it. So I'm going to turn my heat down to low, and then I'm just going to use my immersion blender and break down some of my apples. Okay, so like I said earlier, I like mine a little bit on the chunkier side, so mine is not perfectly smooth. I've got 1 or 2 apples there that still need to be broken up. So just break it down till it's the consistency that you like it, and then give it a taste. We'll see if we need to add any sugar. That's pretty good, but I think I am going to add just a tiny bit of sugar, like maybe 1/4 cup or so. And then the other thing that I'm going to add is I'm going to use some of my strawberry extract just to boost up the flavor of the strawberry just a little bit more. I'm going to use about 2 teaspoons. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add about 1/2 cup of sugar. I think it's fine, but my family will probably like it just a tad bit sweeter. And again, the sugar is entirely up to you. You don't have to add any more. So just taste it and see if you want it in there. So I'm going to add my 1/2 cup. I'm going to continue to let this simmer while I get my canner going. I'm going to swap places with my applesauce in my canner, and I'm going to get the water in my canner simmering, and then we'll be ready for canning it up. Okay guys, we are all set for canning. I have 3 quarts of simmering water in the bottom of my canner along with my rack. Our sauce was simmering, so it's nice and hot. My jars are clean and I'm keeping them hot in my sink filled with hot water, and my lids have been washed and I've set them aside. Modern canning guidelines state that you don't have to pre-sterilize jars and lids as long as you're canning for 10 minutes or more, and we are going to be canning for 15, so we don't need to pre-sterilize anything. Everything just needs to be clean and hot, and it is. We are going to be canning in pints, and we are going to fill our jars to 1/2 inch of headspace. So let's get started. Let's grab a couple of jars. Get rid of the spoon. Add and ladle our applesauce into our jars to 1/2 inch of headspace. And then we are going to use our debubbling tool, or you could also use a chopstick to remove your air bubbles. So just poke around your jar, make sure you release any air bubbles that may be in there. When you do this, your headspace may change a little bit, so you may need to add a little bit more sauce, and we can, so that we maintain our 1/2 inch headspace. That looks good. Now we're going to clean the rims of our jars. I always use a paper towel dipped in white vinegar to clean my rims. I want to make sure we can get a good seal and nothing's interfering with our jar's sealing. And then we're going to use our lids, center them onto our jars, and then add our bands fingertip tight. Lid keeps wanting to turn. And then we're going to lift it into our canner. Okay, I got 5 pint jars and some change. So we're gonna go ahead and put our lid on our canner, and we're going to crank our heat up to high. If you are water bath canning, you want to bring your canner up to a full boil. I am steam canning, so I have a dial gauge on the top of my lid that tells me when we are ready to start timing. And once your once you're at a full boil or you're in your green go zone, you can go ahead and start timing the 15 minutes. When we get there, I'll bring you back. Now, there has been some concern expressed to me about steam canning and how do you know you can trust the gauge? Well, first of all, when it's in the green zone, you should see a steady stream of steam pouring out of your steam vents. You have 2 steam vents up here, and there should be a steady stream of steam coming out of those, number 1. Number 2, we have a clear lid here, so I can peek inside my lid and make sure that the water in the bottom of my canner is boiling. So as long as it's boiling and you have a nice stream of steam 4 to 6 inches coming out of your vent holes, your canner should be fine. So I don't have any reservations about using this canner. I know a couple people have said to me that other people have told them that the dial gauges don't work. I have not found that to be the case, and I'm not really concerned about it. I do make sure that I have steam coming out of my vents and that my water is boiling in the bottom, so I don't really have any reservations about it. My only word of caution would be to everyone, and I think I've tried to make this clear, is you can't believe everything people tell you. So do some research on your own. Always follow the guidelines from the people who do the actual research. The lady who did the research on steam canning, and I will link the article for you in case you haven't read it, she said they did test the gauges, the dial gauges in their when they did testing on steam canning, and they appeared to be quite accurate. So I don't really have any of those concerns. So I just don't think we should believe everything someone says. We don't know what their credentials are. It could just be anyone, that maybe someone who doesn't even really understand steam canning or know how to use their canner. I'm not saying that that was the case with this person because I don't know for sure. But always do your own research. Even with information that I tell you, anything that I post on my channel, you should be able to confirm with the National Center of Home Food Preservation or from a trusted extension office. So yeah, don't ever just take someone's word for it. So those are the things I'm gonna be looking for steam canning. I hope that that puts your fears to rest. I love steam canning, you guys. It's so much better, in my opinion, than water bath canning. Because you're using so much less water, it doesn't take as much time to come up to temperature to start your processing time, and you're using less water. So it's a savings all the way around in my book. Again, the only caveat to steam canning is you cannot process for more than 45 minutes, and we're not here, so that's not an issue. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and I know I fail to do this sometimes, but hopefully you understand the basics of canning and you know this, you need to adjust your times for altitude. The times that I give you are always for less than 1,000 feet, which is where I live. So you need to make sure that you're adjusting. That's also true of most canning books. The time that they give you for processing is always below 1,000 feet. If you are above 1,000 feet in altitude, you will always have to make adjustments. So it's really important that you understand that and you know where to find that information. So when we're ready to start timing, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, my dial gauge is in the go zone, so I can start timing. I also just want to note that I do have a nice steady stream of steam coming out of my vent holes, and I can also tell through my lid that my water is boiling. So I'm confident that my gauge is correct. So we're going to go ahead and set our timer for 15 minutes. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I always try to say this, is once you are up to temperature, whether you're water bath canning or steam canning, you want to make sure you adjust your heat to just maintain a full boil or to stay in your go zone. You don't want it boiling too vigorously in either case. So slowly adjust your heat just to maintain the correct temperature. Okay guys, our processing time is all done. So we can go ahead and turn our heat off. And then what we're going to do is we can go ahead and remove the lid. You want to make sure that you lift it away from you so you don't give yourself a steam facial. Now if you are water bath canning, the instructions are to wait 5 minutes before you remove your jars from your canner. We're steam canning, and the instructions for steam canning are you don't have to wait the 5 minutes. You can, it's not going to hurt anything, but you do not have to. You can go ahead and remove the jars immediately. Just to clarify that on steam canning, because this has been another question that has come up, that is not the instructions that are given with this steam canner, but I did confirm with the lady who did the research at the University of Wisconsin, I believe it was, and she did say that there is no reason to wait the 5 minutes. Waiting the 5 minutes during water bath canning, just as FYI information, has nothing to do with processing your jars. It has to do with thermal shock. Because the jars are submerged in water, you want to let them cool a little bit before they are exposed to cooler air. So that is the reason for waiting, but it doesn't have anything to do with processing to make your food safe. All of that happens during your processing time, which are the times given in a recipe, and we did that. So waiting is not an issue. So we can go ahead and take our jars out. I seem to be getting a lot of questions about steam canning, so I'm trying to clarify things for you. Oh, my jars have sealed already. Wow. All right, let me grab a pot holder and I'll show you our beautiful jars of Summer Berry Applesauce. See how beautiful? It still has its beautiful red color from the strawberries and the delicious apples. Not a lot of ingredients in there, pretty simple stuff, really good. So here's a little bit I had left over. Sorry, something is exciting the babies. Anyway, that's what it looks like. Mine's a little bit on the chunky side. I like mine that way, but you can use a food mill and get it a lot smoother if that's the way you like your applesauce. But let's just give it another taste just to see. Perfection. It's so good. That little bit of sugar just brought out the flavors even more of the strawberries. So anyway, like I said, use whatever berries that you like, mix and match, and have delicious Summer Berry Applesauce. It's so good and super simple, as you can see. I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you have a great day. If you have any comments or questions, leave them for me in the comment section. Make sure you let your jar sit undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. Then you can remove the bands, check your seals, wash your jars, label them, and store them in a cool, dark, dry place. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.